Now this is just a make myself vulnerable kind of session. I'm gonna go back after I make this video, and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch the episodes again, or take notes on all the episodes, and I'll present a product that is more structured and more defined. Until then, enjoy my words while I was on the roof enjoying the sun and some views about the new mini-series Underground on WGN. Hey, my name's Jeremy Lee Cook, and I'm gonna talk about the characters on Underground and the story of Underground. Hey, what's happening? My name's Jeremy Lee Cook, and I want to talk about Underground, the new series on WGN. I had the opportunity of being a background actor in season 2, and I'm just amazed by the high level of production quality and the production values. I really want to talk about season 1 a lot, kind of where we are now into season 2, going into episode 2. A lot of unique things have happened with time, and I really want to start right there with episode 1 and season 1, because when we start off season 2 in episode 1, it's kind of this unique dynamic of something that I really kind of saw happening, and I want to kind of discuss the visuals that the directing team took the liberties of utilizing with the actor Mark in the character of John Hawkes. So as we first see John Hawkes, he's bringing this lectern, this podium. But the unique thing in my mind is he's dragging it, he's pulling it. So it's kind of like he's being like forced into a profession, or kind of forced into something, and he's dragging it with him, instead of it being something that's part of him, like he would be holding it or hoisting it above his shoulders and pulling it behind him instead of dragging it, because it's almost like a respect thing. You would tote that like Atlas, like carrying the world. Like, that's how much the burden of this, this debate of slavery and the abolitionist movement would be ingrained in it. So to me, it's almost like a parade, because we also see a break in his character and the morality immediately when he's at the bar and he's drinking. So we're already seeing these little fractures of character happening, like almost immediately through these visualizations, like when he comes to meet William Still. Now, to me, it would have been of much more impact if he would have been carrying it like this, and then, instead of dragging it, pulling it. I mean, this would have been like, no, I don't need your help to I don't know, to me, the visual would have been so much more, but it kind of started to define almost the gray type character of John Hawkes. As we progress there, we get the Macon 7, and we get Noah and Rosalie and Ernestine and Moses and Samuel. We get this defining feeling on the Macon plantation, which is run by John's brother, Tom Macon, which I believe may have been modeled after I don't want to say the wrong thing in my research of history, but it could be an Ellison type of event being mixed in, and I'm only saying that because of where we were just left with Cato in episode 2 in season 2, and he is the plantation owner, which would be one of, there were a few in South Carolina, and we also know that Ernestine now is in South Carolina on the rice plantation, who I believe is stuck in the depths of an ether binge. Maybe. I don't know. So as this story progresses and develops in Underground, I should have really took notes on each episode as I was watching it, and I did. It's just you always want to have someone to converse with and talk to. So the chain of events that happens is everything is here at the Macon plantation, and then we get the William Still. Oh, this sucks. I'm gonna have to really get my thoughts in order here. Okay, I'm just gonna pick back up, and instead of trying to break it all down by like episodes and what happened, we're going into episode 3 tomorrow of season 2. So I'm just gonna break it down by characters, what I think's happening based on what I've seen through season 1. Now, I didn't think John Hawkes was gonna die so soon. That is putting Elizabeth in a very unique predicament, especially since it's almost, in fact, it has completely changed Elizabeth's life. This all came about like immediately and as a rush. And you have to think that it's the moment that was the catalyst for this is the moment in season 1 where the 2 slave gentlemen inversed the situation and caused Elizabeth to then whip John. And then when Kyle comes in that whole issue there, I knew Kyle was gonna die fairly quickly, but I didn't think that John was gonna go out so fast. Now, Elizabeth has been, her life's been turned upside down. Now, this is where it's gonna get really interesting, because the character Rosalie, you remember season 1, episode 10, the white whale. I'm telling you, I can feel this. John Hawkes is the father of Rosalie's baby. It's not Noah. Now, that's why Rosalie was in the bathtub directly after that scene, crying and in a milk bath, because she was trying to clean off that sin in the old traditions that her mother had taught her to do. And the next thing that her mother taught her to do was probably to lay with someone of her kind, like immediately afterwards. Now, what I think happened, because of the amount of time that had transpired, that at that moment of inception, it's what caused his semen to break the cervix wall, which is all scientific, but that's the reason why. That I think that Rosalie is going to be the mother of John Hawkes, which is really going to make a dynamic relationship with the sewing circle, with Elizabeth, and now this new character, Georgia, played by Jessica Nicole. I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far, but I really feel that the production team rushed. You're rushing it. You're rushing. You don't gotta rush it. And that's kind of like how I felt in the first episode. I felt it was very rushed. You know, it was like, let me get all this out here. Well, we've got characters, so it's like we can slowly unravel that story. And I know that there's a lot going on that you want to show, but I feel that there was a better way to play that. But anyway, it kind of felt muddy to me, but I still understood that what you were doing. You know, you just want to immediately come in on these situations, you know, and show that this is, you know, kind of the life that's happening and what's going on, and this amount of times happens, so this much can actually happen. I just felt that a little bit more time could have been taken, unless this storyline's really gonna go like wow, when you just had to like force feed that like really fast in order to make everything else that's gonna happen. Let's see. The last I saw was and Harriet Tubman. I'm really enjoying the performance by I don't want to say Adina, I think her name is. Beautifully done. Some of the things that we have yet to see, if we will see, which I know that there may be, that time, we have yet to see August. We have not yet seen August, and all the things in the previews that we've seen, that these fights with Kato, which is one of the scenes I was blessed to be a background actor in. We have yet to find out what happens there, and also these church. I better not, but I'm gonna have to rewind that and delete that. Bokeem Woodbine, the stonemason, amazing. Learning to read. This is all. To me, the underground is like this internal battle between what truly is right and wrong at the time that we as a society were at a point where we're growing and evolving. So to me, underground is more like the catalyst of the events that cause the American Civil War to happen. If it weren't for this underground, and if it weren't for slavery of mankind being, and this is what I'm talking about, because I think what we're being shown in episode 1 of season 2 is that Daniel, I don't believe he's a slave. He may be a slave, but when he was paying that master, I thought he was paying his rent. So as like a sharecropper or a tenant farmer or an indentured servant or something like that, or maybe as kind of like what was it, Sam, the carpenter, who what a great character. I can't believe he died. I can't in that way. God, it was just horrible. It was so visual, though. It was so graphic. It was just. I cried. Let's talk about Ernestine. She's definitely someone who's proving that she's codependent on whatever in her environment to do whatever it takes in order for her to survive, and whatever that means. And I think that maybe this is where this inhalation of whatever it is. I'm thinking ether. I'll probably need to research and see what's up with ether, but I know aluminum foil wasn't around in 1859. I'm just going to guarantee that. So we can't unwrap chocolate bars with aluminum foil in 1859. So let's talk about all the characters. Here we go. We've got Noah. Noah's just a resilient, courageous, intellectual, deep-thinking character who's got roots in survival and love, and also an optimism for a better life. For you hear things and you want to believe them, so it causes you to live in a certain way. Then you got Kato, and and Kato had a family, and they were taken from him. So I can only imagine that he would almost be like the Ernestine type character, but in the field. So it was like he would go through and do anything that he had to in order to appease, in order to just progress his 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 levels in order to get to that position to where that he could then either avenge his love or be in a position to gain freedom in order to have some sort of closure. Ernestine. I can't believe she killed Pearlie Mae. And what a horrible loss. It was like in episode 1 of season 2, when they brought Pearlie Mae in as a ghost, it was like I could read the expression on her face that she couldn't believe that she was actually doing that. But I don't want to get into like the layering that played through. It was just a unique thing to know that Ernestine is going to be haunted by the death of Pearlie Mae, which she didn't have to die and the story would still go in the same place. I don't know. But at that moment when she killed Pearlie Mae, it was like, brother, sister, don't matter, you know, and it was just a stab at righteousness, in my opinion. Pearlie Mae was such a good character. God, she was. You were a well played. Oh, just beautiful. So where we are now is, I don't know if it's like the I think we've got a lot of unique stuff going on, and I think it's all prequel to Civil War, and I think that these are all the events that are the catalyst for the events of the Civil War. My opinion. As far as the story in Underground, I've truly enjoyed it. I look forward to, getting a chance to coming out the van and watch an hour of TV on the couch every Wednesday night at 10. It's nice. I do have season 1 on YouTube. Got it through Sony, so I can watch that whenever. But if you want to discuss anything about any of the episodes, I would love to talk about anything. So recap, where we are now is we started in 1857, I think, 1858, and then I think we're like into 1859 now in season 2, maybe. I think that's where we're at, and I think we've got a lot of things from history kind of like pulling into that core of the Macon 7 in order for those stories to then catalyst into the events that are the precursor of the Civil War. The production quality's been absolutely dynamite. You got so many directors. How can I audition to be one of the directors? Wow, you've had great directors. Anthony Hemingway, episode 1, season 1 was dynamite. That show was awesome. I think there was a lot of subtleties going on. I think a lot of things were happening based on certain strengths and weaknesses, and I think everything's been played out nicely. But you don't have to muddy the waters. that makes sense. If that makes sense. Okay, for a recap, here's everything that I think is happening that we are about to get exposed to. I think Rosalie has been impregnated by John Hawkes. I think Cato is going to be modeled after one of the black slave plantation owners based on the fact that Tom is dead. And he actually has his papers stamped and signed. So I think that may be a key into a lot of the events that are going to happen and could happen. And I think Ernestine being in South Carolina, I just don't know where in this the only thing I can see happening is it's going to be another escape, and maybe August is going to find her. Maybe, I mean, that's the only thing I can really think of to like maybe bring characters back in, because now we don't know what's going on with August's son. Was he dying? Did he die? I don't know. There's a lot of unique things going on. So we had the one story completely play out, and it was bookended in season 1, which was William Still. And that was his progression of bringing slaves to the free land, and to the point to where they were getting to where they were writing the narratives to where it's what we were seeing now. You know what I'm gonna do before I put this out? My teeth are just hurting so bad. I'm gonna go back and watch episodes 1 through 10, and I'll take notes on each episode, and then I'll have my thoughts in order, and then I'll